And as the push for peace continues, Russia says its troops have captured multiple settlements across eastern Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry says forces captured 6 new settlements in the country's east, including in the Donetsk region. All this happening as work is underway in Ukraine to repair power lines near a nuclear power plant in the country's east. And officials say power was restored to over 1 million households in and around the capital of Kyiv, a day after a massive Russian drone attack. Scott Clancy, former Director of Operations for NORAD, joins us now. Good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning.
So what are you expecting out of the meeting today between Zelenskyy and Trump?
Well, I think that President Zelenskyy has a lot to achieve and a lot to lose here. He has to go into these negotiations and secure President Trump's support with the Ukrainian side of this 20-point peace plan in order to secure President Trump's leverage over President Putin. That's really what's at stake with today's meeting.
So in the backdrop of the war with Russia, which is going to be the focus of the talks today, talk to us about the challenges that President Zelenskyy is facing back at home. There are corruption allegations, issues within the government, pressure of elections. Could any of that get in the way or present challenges along the path to ending the war?
Yeah, I mean, you pose a very good question. A lot of us think about internal politics as being something that can cause the fall of a government, be very divisitory. And although those things are true, what we have seen throughout President Zelenskyy's presidency has been rallying of his populace behind him, especially as it concerns negotiations with Russia, with the United States, with the European Union. All of these things tend to coalesce support behind him. Yes, he has some issues within his cabinet and his government, but his people primarily are supporting here. The problem that they are facing is that the war is going poorly for them. They're losing territory on a daily basis. That is emboldening President Putin. You know, the 500 drone strikes over the course of the weekend and the deaths inside of Kyiv are a classic example of this. The more that they lose territory, the more that they lose any kind of leverage for these peace negotiations. So inside of Ukraine, you're seeing a very, very weariness of the war. This is why ceasefire is at the very top of what Ukrainians are looking for. They see territory which in the past they never would have considered giving up, but they now see that that territory is going to cost them dearly in terms of lives at the negotiating table.
With that in mind, Zelenskyy did say a few days ago that this deal is 90% done. Do you think he's happy with where things stand right now?
I think he's happy with where things stand right now because although this peace plan has been presented to the Russian delegation, they have not made comment on it, and President Putin has not weighed in on it. I think that as this peace plan is being presented to, President Trump today, as President Zelenskyy is making his case, if President Trump took the plan in its status right now and brought it forward to Russia and could exert those demands on Russia to be able to bring them to the table with this, I think President Zelenskyy would be very happy with it. The idea of ceding territory in the current peace plan has to do with both Russia and Ukraine pulling back from the Donbass and creating a demilitarized zone there. That is beneficial both to Ukraine and not to Russia because they don't want to move off of the front lines at all. They want to keep the line right where it is. And they tell the Ukrainians to pull back, and any territory they pull back from is creating that demilitarized zone. This is kind of one of the sticking points with the negotiation on territory. The next one is that a ceasefire, which is the #1 thing that the Ukrainians really want. The Russians want that after this is ratified. To be able to get this ratified, because it's territorial concessions, Ukraine's going to have to go to a referendum. It's against their constitution for them to give up territory without it. That means you'd have to conduct a referendum while you're under attack from the Russians. That's just not going to happen.
Okay, we will wait to see how this meeting plays out. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
You have a wonderful day.
You too. That is Scott Clancy, former Director of Operations for NORAD.